What's up, guys? This question comes in from Peter, who says, "Hey BJF, saw your video about Glenn praising Clemens at the presser after the penalty. In my opinion, that's just old school coach speak. We don't know what he's saying behind the scenes, and if he ripped into Clemens, people would say that he's not taking accountability for himself as the head coach. In your opinion, what does proper public accountability even look like from a head coach?" Well, number one, Peter, I would say let's beat the Buccaneers, bro, because we're already at like week 12 discourse with this season after one tough loss. So let's get that dub, man, and we could start putting some of this stuff behind us. But I actually my take on this, and I don't know if it makes sense because I thought about it in my head, but now I'm just gonna say it and see if it makes sense to you guys. I think accountability in the way that we discuss it as fans in football is kind of overrated. What I mean by that is we talk about accountability, and it's almost always we're talking about reactive accountability. Somebody makes a mistake, somebody is underperforming, somebody is failing, and we want that person to essentially be punished, right? Lose playing time, be taken off the field, maybe even lose their job. And once it gets to that point, the accountability doesn't even matter anymore. I think things like accountability and culture in football are really just secondary to being a competent team with a competent owner, competent head coach, competent quarterback. Mainly the three things. You have those things, you don't even accountability doesn't even come up. You know what I mean? But like, I don't know. Are the Chargers fans talking about accountability right now? No, they're just rolling because they have a top 10 head coach and a top 10 quarterback, and the accountability just figures itself out. Everything is proactive, that they're good to go. Like an example with even we could talk about Gibson. Now, I'm not saying that Glenn is an incompetent coach, but so far the Jets are an incompetent organization, and he hasn't fixed that in 2 weeks. No shock. But even things like Gibson, like, okay, yeah, there was accountability after he was cut, but to me, it's like, bro, you have the internet. You could look up how many fumbles he's had, and you could not roster him. So that was just the accountability came after some incompetence. That wasn't a small amount of incompetence. It's punt returner. It's not the end of the world, but it was a small amount of incompetence. And then once you have to, you know, swing the sword of accountability, it's because you already messed something up. He should have never been on the team. Now, Clemens, in the same light, maybe he should have never been on the team, or maybe you should have had, requisite enough edge depth to where you don't have Jermaine off of an Achilles, Will McDonald one dimensional, and then right after that is legitimate practice squad level players. Now, you could say that okay, some of that is the new guys not doing it. Some of that is you're taking over a roster with holes. You can't fix everything in one off season. So, however you want to split up the blame there, some form of incompetence led to you being reliant on Michael Clemens. You did not leave yourself enough options there, to where you have to put up with him maybe committing a penalty because you don't have any edge depth, and your fifth round pick you traded up for isn't, I guess, better than him. Yeah, as a rookie. All right. That so to me, once you're, I don't know, once you're doing all the accountability like whack, like once you're firing Nate Hackett accountability, okay, what did it solve? Firing Robert Saleh accountability, what did it solve? Bench Zach Wilson accountability, what did it solve? Once you have to get to the public show of accountability, you've already failed because you are incompetent. That's, and now maybe they're doing accountability things behind the scenes. That's different. I mean, we've all had jobs, we've all had teachers. Like, who were your best teachers? Were they doing all these public shows of accountability? No, they probably were just organized and competent and had things rolling, and kids didn't pop off. You throw some random substitute teacher in there, and now they're shouting and screaming and disciplining and accountability and all over the place because there wasn't proper competence before that. So once you get to asking the question, where's the accountability? Incompetence preceded that almost every time. That's my take on it. Now, what does that mean for Glenn? Nothing, pretty much nothing, because we'll see. We have a 2-game sample size. I don't know. Maybe him screaming at Michael Clemens because Salah would like laugh and pat him on the helmet. Maybe him screaming on Michael Clemens was enough to be like, oh, geez, I guess it actually isn't um, acceptable here. Uh, who knows, man? But yeah, in terms of him at the podium, I don't dig too much into that stuff, and just start winning games, man. The same thing with the culture where we lost, but we quit and we didn't have any fight. It's like, dude, you you just have to win. Like, there's no great way to get blown out. There's no great way to get dog walked. Oh, we were dog walked, but we did it in a nice way. Like, no, man, you didn't have the proper. You were either out talented, out coached. You didn't have the proper like fundamentals. You were over pursuing, not tackling. Uh, is that culture? Is that accountability? No, it's just you were out competenced in that one specific game. The Jets were completely incompetent in their planning and their preparation for that game. Accountability culture, man, it's downstream of competence. Downstream of competence is winning games, and then the culture and the accountability are in there. I don't see how you tether those things apart, at least in my opinion, man. So if Glenn proves to be competent and he eventually gets a competent quarterback and that can keep the incompetent owner at bay enough, then we will never be talking about accountability again. And if we are talking about accountability more, it's because either A, B, and C have incompetence. And what's up, also